This episode of the Zuloo Poodcast is sponsored by Zuloo Inc., a benefit corporation dedicated to the goal of universal access to toilets, hygiene, clean water and sanitation through the power of social enterprise. Learn more at Zuloo.com.
Apparently the two astronauts, Gordon Cooper and Pete Conrad, this is August of 1965, on their trip to the moon, had 4 bowel movements during the flight, and they had no real option other than to endure. And
endure the floating
just
mess, or
no, it's inside
it's in
their suit. Yeah, just you're kind of sitting in it.
Did they put the lid down in their suit, or what's? I mean, I don't know.
They didn't even have a toilet on board,
Okay.
right? Which you think, well, okay, makes sense.
Kind of seems like at takeoff that would be the first thing you're thinking.
I mean,
you've got all that force coming down on you.
I mean, just the launch itself would cause 1 bowel movement.
Welcome to the Zuloo Poodcast, where we talk all things poop, toilets, and sanitation. Through insightful news, impact stories, and quirky humor, we aim to discuss and highlight the critical role toilets play in whisking poop out of our lives, the impact toilets have, or lack thereof, in the health and wellness of humanity, and what Zuloo is doing to help solve the current global sanitation crisis.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Zuloo Poodcast. We're so excited to have you listening along with us today. We've got a great episode lined up. We've got our special guest Charan with us today.
Charan's in the house.
I'm here. I'm in the house. I'm ready to poo down, you guys.
That's right. Yeah. That's why you're here.
Ready to poo down. Yeah.
How long did we took forever trying to get you lined up? Because you've been doing, what you've been doing, Broadway and movies, Hollywood.
So much Broadway was
movie
happening
star
in my life. Most of the Broadway productions I was involved in happened to just be in my family's living room, just with my folks. They just love that. Yeah. But no, it was true, right? We were kind of juggling time around just because acting was kind of winding down for me, but it was still kind of crazy. We're glad to have you. Thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, we finally tracked you down. So so you were talking before we got started about some of the movies you've been doing. Maybe share with us what you're doing.
So I've been a full-time actor for a while now, since I would say 2006. Nice. I kind of went for it, right? And originally from India, I was born there, and then I moved to Provo, Utah, which is very different from India. Just in case you didn't know, it is quite different.
I suspected, but I wasn't quite sure.
I know, and it's a thing that you're not entirely sure until you go there and come back, but. It is different. Let me tell you that for sure.
There's an Indian restaurant here, though. So that's kind of Bombay House, right?
Yes. And believe it or not, that family that started Bombay House, they're really good friends of ours, our family. Okay. Cool. You're do all Indians know each other? In this case, yes, they do. And,
in this town,
yes.
Quite
and
possibly.
So what was funny about that was he would come to our house and my mom would feed him dinner, when he was going to BYU. And so he sometimes pays it forward to me when I go to Bombay House. It's a very exciting.
That's very
time.
nice.
It's a very exciting thing.
Yes.
But yes. So yeah, I grew up in India, came to Provo, and decided, you know what? There's so many Indians that are already doctors and hotel owners and stuff like that. I need to break it away. I need to start my very own Bollywood in Provo, Utah. And so anyway, I started out acting and it was just been fun, man. I've had a great time. I started off here, did a lot of independent productions. Cool. And then
were your parents disappointed? Were they
incredibly disappointed because they wanted me to be a doctor, of course. But my dad never specified what kind. So I played a nurse and a doctor many times on TV. And I've sent it over to him. I'm like, Dad, well, hey, I fulfilled your dream.
Dreams come true.
You never told me specifically. That's on you. But
they can always show you off, to their friends. They're my son's famous.
He's an anesthesiologist today. It's really great. So I moved to LA in 2009 because some friends of mine, I worked on this film. And all these other actors were LA based, and Charan, what are you doing in Utah? There's nothing really here for you. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. And so I moved there, and was like really struggling for a while in LA, being like, what am I even doing?
Sure.
Then I got lucky, very fortunate, and I booked a show called Silicon Valley, which became a very popular show.
Yeah.
And then career kind of took off, and I decided, hey, I want to like start producing my own stuff as well.
Okay.
So I moved back to Utah, and I'm very condensed version, but I'm now working on a sci-fi action comedy movie called Alien Country, which is very exciting.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for that.
Oh, you did? Awesome,
yeah, it was
man.
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Looked pretty good.
It's fun, man. We just had a screening the other day, like just a couple streets down. It was awesome. And
Cool.
People seem to like it. It's not done yet. We still have to put in all of our special effects and stuff, but it's getting there. So
Cool.
we're very
Wait, so
excited
give me,
about it.
I don't know. I haven't seen the trailer. So
It's
give me
true.
like a little taste. What is it about?
You know, it's a true story about aliens that have invaded a small town. No, it's
Provo?
there's,
I just saw some sheriff deputies shooting at some
yes,
aliens in the dark. That's what I remember seeing, but
that is
it looked pretty good.
and that is part of the truth of the film. No, it is about these. It's about this couple that is from a small town called Blue River, and it's one of those towns where everyone knows everyone, and she is trying to fulfill her dreams and be a singer and get out of this town. And he's like, honey, what's wrong? This place is amazing. It's got everything we ever needed.
It's got a blue river.
It's got a blue river for crying out loud. And so anyway, while they're having like this, like, are they going to stay together? Are they not? Will they, won't they? Luckily, an alien invasion happens and it causes them to rethink their priorities, mainly
is lucky.
survival. But it's a totally a comedy. It's super fun. We shot all over Utah.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons why I came back, because Utah is magnificent, honestly.
Yeah.
Like there's so many amazing places to shoot film here. And one of the goals I had for 2020 was to travel and explore Utah.
Cool.
And that film allowed for me to do that. Like we got to go to cool places that I never even knew existed. Honestly, like have you guys ever heard of like Leprechaun Canyon?
No.
I'm telling you, that place exists and it's in Utah and it's legit. It's amazing. And it's by a place called Tickaboo, which I don't even know if you know existed.
Tickaboo.
With a place like Tickaboo, you need to go visit.
I just loving the name.
It's great. It's a great name.
Near Tickaboo.
Yeah. It almost rhymes with Tickapoo. So, you're welcome for that terrible pun. But yeah, anyway, so we made this movie and we're excited about it. Yeah.
That's cool. And you were talking earlier about you're in a like a biblical film as well.
Am. Yes. I was in a show called The Chosen, which it became very popular, right?
Yeah.
And it was such an awesome experience. Like that whole production, I feel, is a miracle. Like just the way they got it going. I remember being there for the beginnings of it back in 2017 because they were working for a company called VidAngel,
right?
Or VidAngel was launching it. Now Angel Studios. And what was funny was I was creating my own kids show, get a launch on Angel Studios. And so I got to be there at the very beginning when The Chosen was launching.
Nice.
And they initially started off with like a short film called The Shepherd. And that launched like a lot of money came into them. And they were like, all right, we're going to make an actual series. And I was very fortunate to play a landowner in the last episode of season 2. Cool. So it was great. Good times.
Sweet.
That's
Very
awesome.
So we had a good time, but it's fun, right? And you know, I have one random funny experience I have to tell you guys about. It has nothing to do with film, but you know, we talk about like being in Provo, Utah,
right?
When like my family's all from India, and if you don't know the demographic of Provo, Utah, not mostly Indian. In fact, very little Indian.
Very
people
little
are here.
Indian.
I think you were the one Indian.
And it's funny that you say this because a friend of mine and I were having this exact conversation as we were coming out of Provo Canyon.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, you are the only Indian I know in Provo, Utah. I'm like, that's ridiculous. Dude, like there's plenty, like go to Bombay House. He's like, no, seriously, you're the only Indian I know. So we're going back and forth. I'm like, you're just not looking hard enough. If you look, you will see Indians. And on cue, on University Avenue, as we're having this, I see this older Indian couple walking on the street. I'm like, Indians! There they are. I told you.
They started coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
Oh, there they are.
But as I drove, and this is a true story, as I
The
drove
other
closer.
the other two of the...
of the three,
Besides your family,
That's the thing. It was my dad. It legit was my dad. I'm like, oh wait, that is my dad. So I'm like, all right, pull over. I better go say hi. But so anyway, I lost that round.
That's true.
But,
I mean, I think Provo needs to do a better job at
we need to
reaching out to India. And,
Well, that's why we're talking about it. I mean, we want you to come.
Yes. Well,
to
there are
Provo
actually, I live in
see how
Lehigh
amazing.
now, and there's tons now, right? Because of all the tech tech companies.
Silicon
and stuff.
Slopes.
Yeah, Silicon Slopes.
Yeah.
So
Just
where in
moved from
India
Delhi.
is your family from? Like
So
what region?
We're from a place called Madras or Chennai. That's like another name for it.
Chennai.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's the southeast part.
Okay.
Cool.
So yeah, I was born there, lived there for about 6.5 years.
You got Sri Lanka off the coast.
Sri Lanka off the coast.
Okay.
So we're definitely more north of that.
Okay.
But we're definitely a coastal city.
Got it.
And I don't even know like the stats as far as population goes, but a while ago, like we were trying to do some comparisons as far as like how big it was and everything, right? We said that LA had like a square miles of like 1,000 square miles or something like that. It was LA County or whatever, and it had about 10 or 12 million people.
Yeah.
Chennai is like 50 or 60 square miles, and it had about 5 or 6 million people.
Wow.
So it's just so many people all congested into each other, and it's a wild time. And it was great. I would never drive in India. Like I don't have the courage to do that. But it was great.
Yeah, we were there a couple of years ago, and
Oh, cool.
driving at night was like a crazy experience because
It's wild, right?
you know you're coming up, you know, you're driving and you don't see the black cow that's like on the road. And the kids like running across the road. It's just like it's like a Frogger game.
It really is.
Such an exercise in trust.
You know,
Holy cow.
back and forth.
But the Frogger is you trying to avoid that.
You are
You are the frog. You're not the one crossing the street.
Seriously.
Did you notice the artwork on the ground on the roads? Did you ever notice that?
Maybe we're going too fast. Maybe.
I'm talking about the painted lines. Those are artwork
that's
because
artwork.
no one pays attention to the lanes. You know,
I didn't see them. No.
It's just people just go do whatever they want over there. So
certainly that's we're we've got a lot of projects going over there in India, as you
That's
know,
amazing.
and we're excited to have you here. We're going to talk about some of those stories on the podcast, and get your input on that. Do you ever go back over to visit?
It's been a while.
Family over there?
Yeah, I do have family. A lot of them live in a place called Pondicherry, which is even further south, also a coastal city.
Okay.
Fun fact, M. Night Shyamalan is from Pondicherry. It's very exciting.
Okay.
And another fun fact, you look like you don't know who M. Night Shyamalan is. He is the director of The Sixth Sense and other movies like that.
Signs.
Signs.
What else has he done?
Yeah, he's done a lot of movies. He's a big director.
Okay.
But anyway, I ran into him once in Utah. But yeah, he is the director of those movies, and he's from that town.
Oh, cool.
So very cool.
So now you're going to like connect on LinkedIn. Hey, remember our Utah meetup. Get me
he
in
might
your
be
next
watching
movie.
this right now and say, "Hey, I need a beard. I need a bearded character.
You need a bearded character." Yes, and I'm like, "Hey, there's one Indian in Provo, Utah that can help you out there." But shout out to if you're listening. Yep. Exactly. But I'll tell you, like, it was great, right? Because my family, like, we came here. And at the time when we came, it was very difficult because visas kept getting denied all the time. But my mom, I remember like this story, and it always stuck with me. You know, we grew up Hindu, but like she went to this Christian church and prayed to Jesus because she's always had this connection to Jesus. She always felt. So she went and prayed, and then 2 weeks later, we got our visas, and then we came out here. So, But no, to answer your question before, yes, I do go back.
That's great.
Yeah, so I do go back every several years. Last time I went back was a while ago, so I am definitely due back for a trip.
Sweet. Well, maybe if India opens up, you can come along. I've been trying to see when the, what is it? I think a 14-day quarantine right now. If you're going to go, you got to, you got to
quarantine for a while, right?
I'm not sure what a quarantine hotel in India is going to be like. So I'm a little nervous.
It sounds exciting. Yeah.
But maybe it might be nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Charan, thanks for telling us a little bit about yourself.
Of course,
We're gonna
absolutely.
Jump into some poo news.
Sweet.
Darren's got our updates.
Yeah, I just have a couple articles. I do want to hear you mentioned a poo story.
Oh boy!
So get that ready. But
that's a good one.
This one, just some statistics. We're obviously everybody's concerned about airborne viruses and things like that nowadays, right? I think it's called COVID or something like that. Anyway,
what?
Hadn't heard of that.
COVID,
I don't know what that
I think
is.
it's with a K. COVID. COVID with a K.
Yeah.
So we don't get censored. It's with a K.
The K.
Anyway, a little study. This is in Science of the Total Environment as a publication. Talks about putting the lid down when you flush decreases airborne particles by 30%, and says leaving the loo lid open after flushing, it helps prevent droplets from dispersing, which can go up to 1.5 meters, which I think is that around 5 feet, right? Which is, and which might linger in the air for up to 30 minutes, right? So if you're concerned about airborne particles,
maybe
we should wear a mask when we go to the bathroom now. But
wait, you guys don't? I've been there for a long time.
Yeah, ridiculous. Well, maybe we should.
Your secret's out, Charan. I thought you were going to keep that under the lock.
I was like, well, that whole COVID thing, like, crap, everyone knows now.
Yeah, everybody's doing it now.
Yeah.
It's no fun anymore. You can't play that doctor on TV. It's
not fun anymore.
But anyway, it's recommended that you close the lid if you flush because, scientifically shown that it decreases those airborne particles. And who wants to be breathing poop, right?
Well, it gets old after a while, you guys.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's that article. We'll put a link to this article in case you want to read more about it. This other article is
in case you need more convincing to put the toilet seat down after you go.
Yeah, you need all the statistics behind it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like common sense, but
I like to read that article when I'm going to the bathroom because then I'm like, the stats do say I should leave the seat down, and that helps me make my decision.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of places in India, they don't even have a toilet anyway. So, much less a lid to put on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
This other is kind of, speaking of like science fiction, this other article, Popular Science, has a cool article about pooping in space. I think, Kelsey, you found this one.
Yeah, it's been a while since I read it. If you'll give us a refresher, that'd be helpful.
But yeah, so anyway, it just has some cool statistics. It talks about, the Gemini 5 was the first NASA long duration mission. It says here that the two astronauts, when they were making their trip to the moon, they really hadn't planned ahead on the toilet.
Just kind of seemed like an easily forgotten
detail. Which you would think would be
a simple oversight that could be disastrous.
Which you think if the U.S. government's behind it, they would be thinking ahead. But apparently the two astronauts, Gordon Cooper and Pete Conrad, this is August of 1965, on their trip to the moon, had 4 bowel movements during the flight, and they had no real option other than to endure. And
endure the floating
just
mess, or
no, it's inside their suit. Yeah, just you're kind of sitting in it.
Did they put the lid down in their suit, or what's? I mean, I don't know.
They didn't even have a toilet on board, right? Which you think, makes sense.
Kind of seems like at takeoff that would be the first thing you're thinking. I mean, you've got all that force coming down on you.
I mean, just the launch itself would cause 1 bowel movement.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you got,
and then you're like, oh man, how long do I have to be? The mission becomes a much more precarious mission.
I know,
much more personal mission too.
Yeah. You should probably incorporate that into the sci-fi somehow, right?
Yes, absolutely.
When the aliens show up, I mean, I think I would have bowel movement.
Like, let me ask you this: remember that TV show 24? With Jack Bauer. Do you guys remember that show?
Yeah.
You know, where it's just like
everything
24
within the 24 hours.
Within the 24-hour period. When does he have time to go to the bathroom? You know what I mean?
I asked my wife that question. I'm like, there's no
potty breaks. There's no potty breaks. I mean, that man has got so much bowel movements going on, and
maybe it's the adrenaline that just like keeps it in until the crisis is over.
Right.
Oh man, I don't know. It's intense times. Anyway, sorry, I just
I totally
it's a good
get
thought
that.
to have. I mean, you're looking out for Jack Bauer.
I really am.
Really.
Yeah.
But I do think that all the time, like, or watching like a Star Wars movie, there is no like, oh wait, we have to stop
mid lightsaber battle
and go.
Hang on.
Time out. Got to go. to the
Yeah, you
bathroom.
guys. Yeah, things are happening, not externally, but
Which I think
internally.
you think of like a Star Wars technology toilet. I mean, it's got to be pretty dang cool.
And
I
yet
mean, I
they
don't
have
even
no
know what it
lids.
looks like. Maybe it's a holodeck. Maybe it's I don't know. It's just it's got to be. Somebody's got to do
Someone's got to do something about it.
I think you should do that in your movie.
These are ideas that are just spinning in my head right now. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
You could just incorporate that in.
We know you came onto the Zuloo Poodcast specifically for ideas.
for ideas.
You're going
your
to come away with
movie.
thinking, "Hey guys, we need to rewrite the script." And,
Yes.
and then the movie bombs. And
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
Why nobody wants
Yeah.
to see this movie?
Everyone poo-pooed on it.
Exactly right.
You're welcome.
Exactly right.
Number 2 pun. There's more. I've
Keep
got.
'em coming.
Yeah. I
Hey,
will.
speaking of poo, let's hear your story, man. You said you had a pretty
man.
vivid one.
It was intense,
I
guys.
mean, if you want to share, if you
Sounds
don't
a
want
little life changing.
It was
It-
life altering. It was one of those moments where I realized, you know what? There really is no reason to have an ego, and this has definitely helped me to solidify that experience. So I had just barely moved to California, and so I still hadn't even unloaded things from the trunk of my car. It's going to be very important for the
Okay.
story.
unloading is a loaded word.
It really is. Unloading is a loaded word. Okay, great. So I was in California and I went to this luncheon in, I think it was Pasadena or Glendale, somewhere in LA, Studio City, somewhere around there. I used to live in Rancho Cucamonga, which is about an hour away when there's no traffic.
Right.
When there's traffic, all bets are off.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's Friday afternoon, which is the worst time to go back to Rancho Cucamonga from LA.
Uh-huh.
And that is setting the stage for the disaster that followed. So I'm driving back. I'm in Pasadena and
So you're on the freeway.
I'm on the freeway. I'm on
Okay.
the freeway and
Like,
bumper to bumper
I
traffic.
think I can picture this.
Okay. Bumper to bumper traffic.
It's like you're in a space capsule.
In a space capsule,
going to the moon.
completely trapped. Yes.
Can't-
And then the need to go poo hits me so hard out of nowhere, out of left field, right? I'm
Just
fine. I'm
overwhelming.
fine moments ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
Moments ago, I'm fine. And all of
Yeah,
a sudden,
all of a sudden
it just
you're-
hits me like a semi truck. And I'm like, what the crap?
No.
Literally, right?
No warning.
No warning. No one told me this was
rumbling,
going to happen.
just
Yeah.
immediate.
Yeah. It was an immediate thing.
Yeah.
And you know how you're like, this could be just gas, but you're
You're
kind
gonna
of testing
roll
the
the dice.
waters and you realize, oh no, very quickly you realize, nope, I'm going to retract as much as I can because that is not gas. So here I am, I'm stuck. I can't go anywhere. And I'm like,
I think
sweet.
that's a shard. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's not, yeah, it is. It's called a shard, but
Shard.
trust me.
Technically,
Is it? But this is much more than
Okay,
a
it
shard,
wasn't just
right?
a very-
yeah,
it was-
No. So I am
Shardarama.
clenching the wheel of my car, and I've never turned yellow before. I mean, physically, that's almost impossible.
Yeah.
However, this day I was like, oh, why does my skin look yellow all of a sudden? And it's now to the point where I'm arching my back.
Oh no.
And I'm sweating profusely. It's just so terrible. I can't do anything. I'm about to.
Are you praying to Jesus at this moment, or are you?
I am praying to any God that's going to listen.
or your Indian gods from your childhood. It's like, please,
anyone that's listening out
Yes.
there, that has any sort of control over my
power.
bowels.
Yeah.
Please help me to retain some sense of dignity. Everyone was asleep. They were probably
Everyone was
they were
asleep.
probably go on their own poo break at
Yeah.
the time.
They're like, this is for your own good.
yeah, this is gonna help
Your own
you.
experience.
Anyway, so I don't know where I'm gonna go, and all of a sudden I'm like, I gotta get off the exit. I gotta find a gas station. I have to
So you're still moving a little bit
slowly, but
Okay, just
not fast. And so I'm slowly wiggling and trying to move the wheel, and I get to an exit, and I think it's the Baldwin exit. It's in oh my gosh,
You probably remember the exit number.
I really do. It's Arcadia. We're in
Arcadia.
Arcadia now,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
Yeah.
So I get off in this exit, and of course I pick the one exit that has nothing, no gas station,
Yeah.
no nothing. I'm like, you've got to be joking me. There's no McDonald's. This is crazy. So at this point, I have to pull off the road, and I see this parking lot, but it's this parking lot It faces.
Were there bushes on the parking lot or anything?
That's what I was looking for, right?
Yeah,
but,
you started looking for.
But I see like the main street, like so the parking lot is right here facing the main road, and I get out, and the moment I get out of my car, I instantly cross my legs because I know the moment I uncross, gravity has taken over, right?
Yeah.
I pretend to be on a phone call as if like, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just pretending like an important phone call is happening. My legs are crossed and I'm kind of waddling over to what I think are the bushes, but the bushes don't go far. Like there's the huge fence.
Inside the.
Yeah. Like, so there's like bushes and fence. You can't hide anywhere.
Right.
And there's like the main road and there's tons of traffic.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm fervent. Like, my phone call was to God, right? And I'm just like, please
make these bushes bigger.
Please make the bushes bigger, or like give me a solution.
Golden toilet from the sky.
Yes. Then I like. Now it's close to Halloween time. I just want you guys to know that.
Okay.
So I'm slowly walking back to the trunk of my car, and I open the trunk, and I am looking for anything that can help me in this situation, and I see this white garbage bag full of socks, and I'm like, this is going to be helpful. So I dump the socks out, and I'm holding this trash bag in the air, and I'm like, this flimsy trash bag will now be my toilet. Okay. Yep. All right, great. Socks. I'll take some socks. I need some socks. Do we have water? I'll take water. Whatever we have.
Well, it sounded like you had some equipment all of a sudden.
This is God providing at the hour of my greatest need. And then I'm like looking around. I'm like, well, there's nowhere that offers privacy except for the backseat of my car.
Okay. So, all right.
So I go into the backseat of my car.
Was it a nice car? Or was it a?
Well, I sold it very quickly after.
Okay.
It
used to be a nice car.
You know, I felt like telling the new owner that I pooed in there may have depreciated the value, so I left that story out. Anyway, so I get in the backseat of my car. I'm trying to position this garbage bag underneath, and I'm
trying to picture.
Yeah. And then I take my pants off, and then like I'm trying to position, and like just a Niagara Fall type of situation happens, and I am like, and I'm laughing, I'm crying, I'm like, how did it get to this? How did it get to this?
Your ego is at all times
where I left the morning thinking I'm having a great meeting, and coming back, I'm now pooing in the back of my car. And I'm
in front of all of Los Angeles.
All of Los Angeles was witnessing a parked Camry, and there is an Indian man pooing in the backseat. And I'm holding this pure.
They're probably like those Indians. Don't they know?
They don't know. They don't know. They don't know to put the lid down or to have the garbage bag. Anyway,
lid at all.
No lid at all. What was once a pure white flimsy garbage bag is now becoming heavier and heavier and discolored, like drastically discolored.
You're not going to reuse.
But you had enough garbage bag to cover you.
Yeah, I did. Thankfully,
that's important.
I did. And I'm laughing.
If it started overflowing the garbage bag, you're in trouble.
Then I was in trouble. But there was no
leaks, no tears in the bag.
God is merciful.
He was so merciful that
what a
day.
Blessing.
It doesn't end there though. Unfortunately, after I like find like the socks and then I'm like, the sock was enough to like.
So you clean up with the socks
a little bit,
okay.
But then I'm like, I need more. I don't have enough socks. So I see a coupon book of like Halloween coupons. I'm like ripping the coupons off, and I'm like, getting paper cuts in areas you never wanted to have. I did,
wow.
But anyway, I finished the business. I thought I was done.
Do you still have the socks? Did you keep the socks?
I decided to keep them because they will be, priceless later on.
Okay.
Well, no, actually I did.
Depends how famous you're going to be in the future, right?
So all of a sudden I see a car pull up, and the next thing I know, my pants were suddenly back on, like immediately.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, okay, that was insane. I need to find a trash can to throw this away. I don't find anything. And I've never really been a leave your bag of poo anywhere kind of guy. I just never have. Wow. So I'm like, I'm just going to take this with me.
You're not going
to find.
That's classy. It just talks to your class.
It's a classy.
You're not going to toss it down the freeway.
I just didn't feel like it was the right thing.
No, that's honorable.
So I'm driving home, and I have a bag of poo in my car. Anyway, it was just the worst. But by the time I got home, I had to go again. So I rushed back to my house, go to the bathroom, and I had no energy left. So I crawled and I went to bed.
Wow.
A couple hours later, I woke up with the realization that bag of poo was still in my car.
In your warm California car.
Anyway, so I went, opened the door, it was destructive, but I threw it away and I quickly sold the car. And anyway,
Wow.
that was it, you guys. On public knowledge, everyone knows now. It was a terrible story, but it was.
I'm sorry, your movie career is over.
Yeah,
I
you'll
don't
either
share
get
that
cast
story.
more
Yeah.
or less.
Yeah,
Or maybe they'll typecast you as a
they're like, hey, that's the guy.
Indian pooing in the city kind of guy.
That's the guy. Yeah.
It's just added to your crisis resume,
It
right?
was.
Like I
It
can
was, you know,
Well,
really
amazed
act
at
out.
the improv, skills you've got.
that was what it was. I had to like be quick on my feet.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah,
Plus just the skill it took you to get from crossed legs phone call to the back of your car. I mean,
yeah.
that
I'm
That is
telling you.
amazing.
that
I'm
was
telling you,
self-control.
it was a miracle. The point is like I didn't go in my pants like those astronauts.
Yeah,
I didn't go
got control. Yeah,
in the backseat of my car with no protection. So I'm just saying, look, if like
It's good
I'm
skills.
just telling people, like, if you're listening, just protect yourself and be careful.
that's right.
That's all I got to say about that.
and you can do it with
can
a
do
little
it.
bit of creativity.
Yeah,
You can.
Yes.
and
Yes.
prayers are answered.
Prayers
right?
are
That's
definitely answered
that's
that
a
day.
testament to that.
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, coupon books, socks, they go a long way. So
Yeah,
Be
absolutely.
good to keep a little emergency kit in your car now.
I
Have
really
you
do.
started that?
I should. I really
you
should.
really ought to.
I really should.
I'm going to give you one of these to take with you, just to keep in the back of your car.
Gosh,
Just,
and especially in this climate
Yeah,
of
you
like
never know.
you never know. Thank you so
so
much.
take that home with
Oh,
you,
gosh,
and
I hope it's as colorful as this wrapping.
it's
paper.
made out of bamboo. Our friends at
Who gives a crap?
make
No,
this.
wait,
out
are you
of-
joking me right now?
No, that they're who gives a
Wow.
crap.org. You
Okay.
can check them out, and
Okay, I'm stoked about this.
In fact, every product that they sell, they some money goes to build toilets.
I love that. It's awesome.
So we love them, and they love you.
That's so awesome.
So
They love your tushy.
Thank you.
That's right.
Thank
Take
you so
care of
much.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so little bamboo on your bum.
Yeah. Bamboo
Thanks for
bum.
sharing.
Well, thanks for
Yeah.
sharing that, Charan.
Thank
Thanks
you
for sharing, Charan.
You're
I feel like
so
we're
welcome.
best friends already.
Dude,
Such an
of course.
intimate story you
I know.
shared with us on
Thanks
this
for
first
daring
meeting.
me, Darren.
Yeah, you
That's
bet.
great. Yeah.
Even
Great.
if you'd
Awesome.
selected truth, we would have asked for that.
That's true.
So-
That's true.
I bet there's somebody out there. If anybody has any video footage of Charan,
Arcadia, you guys, Baldwin. It was 2009, I believe.
2009 but
October.
people were. Was that
It was definitely pre-COVID.
people had cell phones?
Yes, very low
2009.
quality it may have been,
Yeah,
And
but
maybe
we'll
grainy,
take it.
but we could probably
you can
enhance it,
depixelate that. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
enhance it, and know who it is,
Mhm.
identify you, or maybe there's some close camera footage from the bank or something. But
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
Appreciate you sharing that.
Oh yeah, you're welcome.
So speaking of stories, how are we doing on time? We good on time? We have. Okay. Well, are we gonna? We should go ahead and maybe
Yeah.
play one of our stories from our Zuloo toilet recipients in India. We've been
Yeah.
building toilets in Hyderabad
Awesome.
primarily.
Yeah.
But we are looking at other places. Again, we were going to be building all. I mean, we're still building them even with COVID because we have a
Mhm.
team over there. In fact, one of our later podcasts, we're going to be interviewing some of our team over there, and
Yep.
hearing what they've been working on. But we're
Which
gonna.
can I just tell you guys really quick? Like that is
Yeah.
just awesome. Like it really is, because I remember, like, when you're going to a country that has that many people and there's just so much poverty and this diseases abound,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
I feel very, very fortunate because I was born into a family that had money and we were able to come to the States.
Yeah.
But right outside of my house, there was like a concrete fence, and right outside were all these families living in cardboard boxes.
Yeah.
And it always made me very humbled, because I was like, why was I born into the family with the money when right outside they did not have that? They don't have toilets,
Yeah.
like how, like they would go on the streets, like what do you do? Right.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciate this type of work because, I mean, it is a pun, but it is messy business. But the truth is like, it's an incredibly important work, and it saves so many people's lives. So thank you.
We're super excited, and we focus on. I mean, we're building toilets in lots of different places. India, we focus on India because that's obviously part of open defecation is still a big issue there, and just access to toilets
So minimal.
so minimal,
So rare, especially in so many rural parts.
Yeah, so that's why we tend to talk about India quite a bit.
Yeah,
just because that's where we're most active. But yeah, I think Kelsey, you're going to play.
Yeah, we're going to listen to Bhavana's
awesome.
story. She's
Bhavana's
got a story very similar to a lot of the people that lived right outside your house, and just to listen to some of the realities that she and her family face.
So we can listen to that and then, talk about it a little bit, and then we can probably wrap up.
Cool.
Go ahead and play it. We can.
Bhavana speaks of what it is like being a widow with 2 children and no sanitization in the locality of Karmik Nagar in Dhanbad city, India. Time. It's the most precious resource I have as a widow. When my husband died, I was denied my family's share of the agricultural land in our local village. And so, as the sole wage earner, I made a decision to move to Karmik Nagar. I sell green leafy vegetables in the market. All kinds. Silvery, stinging nettles, healing light green turmeric leaves, curling bright lingru, and fibrous Malabar spinach. I pick my greens early every morning from local farms and carry them in heavy bags to the center of the city. The smell of these plants is fresh and life-giving, and I feel proud to be supporting my family with money from natural ingredients. But it takes time. I have to be at the farms as early as possible so I can have the pick of the best leaves. I have to set up my stall early, otherwise my spot in the middle of the market gets taken quickly, and I have to stay at my stall until nightfall in order to make enough money to survive. So I need every drop of my time. It takes me and my children more than an hour to go and come back from the nearest toilet. We have to walk for more than 2 kilometers, so at most I can only afford to go there once a day. Sometimes I have to send my children to walk to the quiet and unprotected path to the facilities alone. But what can I do? If it's a choice between safety and food, I have to choose food for them. Otherwise, they can't study and improve their lives. I'm not the only one facing these kind of difficult and degrading decisions. Since we don't have a toilet in our slum, the women I know not only constantly face the risk of violence as they travel alone to the nearest toilets, but they face economic exclusion. If I only have one person who wants to buy my vegetables in one day and I miss them because I have to travel to attend nature's call, then that is one day that my children don't eat.
Yeah, so that's
Bhavana's story. I mean, it just is like, she brings up so many elements, right? That are like, I mean, how does a person deal with what seems like so much tragedy time after time? Like, first her husband dies. Okay. And then like to be denied her agricultural shares and then have to move, like relocate her family and then be the sole wage earner and have to think like, how am I going to provide for my children, make sure that we survive? And then to add on top of that, this issue of how am I even going to take care of my body's basic needs? It's just seems almost too much for one person to bear. I don't know. She's courageous to me. I think I just listened to that and I just think, I don't know that, that's something that I could be built for. And obviously out of necessity, it's something that you do. You get creative, right? You find ways to make it happen. And there are costs to that, especially. I mean, Bhavana says herself, she's like, I have to walk more than an hour. It takes me more than an hour. And it just seems like, wow. I don't know. Your choices are, you hold it in, you risk illness, you risk disease, you risk time, right? Future time, maybe not right then in that moment, but later on, or you go and you risk your children not eating for a day and yourself not eating for a day. And
right.
Yeah. It's just nuanced. I guess the issue is just really nuanced when we think about that. And
it's very interesting when people are born into survival mode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we sometimes take so many things for granted. We definitely take a lot of things for granted.
Absolutely.
A lot of things that, like going to the bathroom, it's like, oh yeah, there's toilet right down this, right there. It's very easy. You can just go and whatnot. But when you're in a situation where you don't have those privileges so easily accessible, life becomes very different, right? But it was so interesting. I had a conversation with some cousins of mine that live currently in India right now, and I asked them, because they're from this place called Pondicherry that I was telling you about earlier.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, if you could live anywhere in the world, anywhere at all, where would you go and choose to live? Without even skipping a beat, he's like, Pondicherry. I'm like, no, I'm so sorry. Let me rephrase the question. Anywhere in the world. He's like, no, I'd choose Pondicherry. And I said, why? And he said, I'm never lonely here.
Yeah.
I thought that was a very profound answer.
Absolutely.
Because we're always celebrating each other there. Like there's family is such a big part of the culture.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was there, like every time, like any sort of celebration or any activity was like a cause of celebration. And we're like, and they were like going around and having dinner. And I remember this one time they're like, hey, Charan, we have a new restaurant here, Charan. We're going to go to this restaurant and you're going to love it. It's brand new. I'm like, awesome. What is it? It's called Pizza Hut. I'm like, oh, okay. And they're like, you love it there, these pizzas, you put toppings. I'm like, no, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to let them have it. But the absolute joy
they probably had a toilet at Pizza Hut. Maybe?
I don't even think they did, actually. No, they just had the pizzas.
Okay.
It was great. But you know what's wild is like they live very presently.
Yeah.
And they live very joyously. I feel like sometimes we're the one in poverty in a weird way, because I feel like a lot of times we feel very isolated and alone. Even before COVID, we feel this way.
Yeah.
And we don't live very presently.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying like, oh, her circumstances are like terrible and ours is great. I'm just simply saying like she has like a very interesting situation that she was born into. Yeah. And whatever we can do to help alleviate that. But yet there's so many things that she can teach us about living presently and joyfully that we can learn from.
Yeah. I mean, when we were there in Hyderabad back in 2019, I mean, the smiles were endless, in the streets, and they weren't smiling at us weird foreigners walking down the street, but it was just kids playing and children, women gathering, and it was like, and we look around and it's like, looks like honestly, the Linden Dump over here, right? It's like all these, maybe 1 million people went and built a little village over there in the dump, and they're super happy though.
Super happy.
But, and then, a few minutes later, there's a funeral walking down, a funeral procession starts coming down the street, and we all, but it's just like that. I mean, I think it's totally right. They're living in the present for the most part. I think just, little simple things like a toilet or like,
Yeah, I mean, the level of joy that you experience living in the present, and then you think about adding one of these privileges on top of that, and it's like, wow, the exuberance that you could
I mean, we did a, informal survey. Hey, how many of you, how many of lives have changed since you've been a toilet? And everybody's like, now I don't have to spend an hour going to finding a toilet because I've got one, conveniently located. I don't have to, take those risks. And also the water wells, we're also,
I was going to say that
we also drill water wells there. And, they're like, look, the cost, the amount of money that we're saving because now our village has a water well, right? They don't have to like hike 5 miles to go buy water because they've got it right there locally. Right. So just little things that, obviously we take for granted that, is important. Right. And that's, right. That's what makes life living. Right.
It's a very different life experience, but it's a beautiful life experience, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I remember I used to work at the missionary training center, and I was talking to this missionary, and he was telling me this really interesting story about when he was in high school, his teacher was asking all the students, how do you deal with a bad day? Like when you have a bad day, what do you do? And there was this student from Africa who for about 16, 17, 18 years of his life never even owned a pair of shoes. Yeah. But through, I don't know if he got adopted or however it happened, he ended up coming to the school in Idaho and going to school there. And he like looked at the teacher curiously and he like raised his hand and he's like, like in very genuine comment, he said, "I am so sorry. I have never had a bad day." Like he had no concept of what that was.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Oh geez," cause like they're all like, "Oh my gosh." Like he came from like poverty. Like that's crazy.
Right.
But from his perspective, he's like, "I've had an amazing life."
Yeah.
So I think it's a beautiful thing to understand what perceptions can do.
Sure.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to wrap up here, but I had a final thought, which was that, I just love the phrase that you said, born into survival mode, right? It's like at that point, you really know better. And for those of us who have lived in really westernized societies where we have a lot of these privileges, it's really easy for us to almost condescend, right? To look down and be like, wow, that sounds so terrible. That is so awful. But when we look at like the beauty of, okay, Bhavana's got like extreme self-reliance skill because she was born into this survival mode. There is so much, the joy that you mentioned we can learn from, but also just this like, need to like live for oneself and live for one's community is a beautiful thing that I think we just can take away and implement more, right, in our lives of like, let's take care of each other. Yeah. Let's like look out for each other, see what we need, and then try to meet those needs. Yeah. So that survival mode, right, it's a good base, but then we can start to think about other things and move on to other places in life where we can feel an even greater measure of joy and fulfillment. And anyway, appreciate you sharing that.
No, of course. Thanks you for sharing
Thanks
this.
for sharing, Charan.
Yeah, thank you for daring me to come on the podcast, Darren. That was a terrible pun. Again, I said that again. No, but seriously, I appreciate you guys letting me come on. And
we're excited. We're glad you came. I hope you can come back and come back again after your Bollywood.
My Bollywood Provo premiere. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for listening in. We hope that you will like, share, and subscribe our podcast. Follow us on our social media channels, and you can check the links in the show notes below for links to Charan's work and to the news articles that we've shared today and to some of our favorite products. Quick reminder that if you send us your email, we'll send you a free stress poo or Zuloo toilet. Or your email and then 2 friends, you'll get a free copy of Rose George's The Big Necessity.
I'm going to share one with Charan right now.
I love chocolate pudding. I love chocolate pudding.
Hey, this is specifically for the next time that you're in the car and something stressful.
If you're in the car, might come in handy next time too. So take one of those.
No, I appreciate that. Do you have a coupon book? That also will come in handy.
We'll you know what? Hey, you know what? I'm going to give you this book here. There you go. You can use that too. So
thank you. Read a page, use a page, read a page, use a page.
Multi-use.
That's how that works.
Absolutely. It's great. It's awesome. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Charan. Yep. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Zuloo Poodcast. Follow us on social media at our links in the show notes below. To learn more, visit our website, zuloo.org. If you liked the podcast, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. For even more Zuloo fun, send us an email with your toilet stories to podcast@zuloo.com for a chance to be featured on the podcast. This episode of the Zuloo Poodcast is sponsored by Zuloo Inc., a benefit corporation dedicated to the goal of universal access to toilets, hygiene, clean water and sanitation through the power of social enterprise. Learn more at zuloo.com.